everyone, my name is Benedetta. I'm a first year BM student, and in this video we're going to solve together exercise 4.10 of the Excel workbook, in which you're going to be able to create some scenarios, use the PMT function, use the future value function, the goal seek, as well as if function, average if, and all other operative functions, as well as creating charts. I hope it's going to be useful. I'll let you read the introductive paragraph by yourself, and we're going to go straight on to question 1. Question 1 asks us to assign the name Euribor 3M to cell B1. So we select cell B1 and you go up here in the cell name and you write Euribor underscore 3M. Remember, you cannot use spaces in the cell name, so use underscores instead of spaces, and remember to click on enter so that it appears up here. So if you change the cell and then you go back here, it appears. So then they ask us to calculate in a new column the total interest rate. So total interest rate, as usual, you make the column the right size using a function, and the interest rate has to be related to each proposal. So the total interest rate will be equal to the rate in case of a fixed interest rate of financing. So if here it says fixed, then it will be equal to this interest rate here. And if not, if it's variable, then it will be equal to the sum of the rate and the Euribor 3 months in case of a variable interest rate financing. So we're going to use an if function. So go if this case is equal to variable, then we are going to do the sum of the interest rate plus Euribor. Else, it's just the interest rate. And there you go. So we pull it down, and as we're talking of an interest rate, we put in percentages. You can add some decimals if you want to. And this is it for the first point. Then they ask us to calculate in cells B14 and B15 the average of the total interest rate for the two types of rate. So we're gonna do that. So you write average, and here interest rate type. We go for variable and fixed, and we're gonna use an average if function. So you go on average if, you select range. Remember to block it because we're gonna drag it down later on. So the criteria is this range that we just selected has to be the same as this one, and then the average range is the one of the total interest. So once again, block it because we're gonna drag the formula down in order to get the other one. We put in percentages again, and there we go. So as usual, we can make everything a bit prettier. And this is it for question 1. So now we move on to question 2. They ask us to add a new column called monthly installment, in which they ask us to calculate the monthly installment to be paid at the end of each period. Therefore, we're going to use the PMT function. So the rate is total interest rate. We divide by 12 since we want the monthly one. Then we take terms and we multiply it by 12 since we have 12 months a year. Then they want the payment value, so basically the principal. Then we don't have a future value, so we'll leave it, and we use the 0 one since we get the end of the period. And there you go. So in the second point of question 2, they ask us to add a column called total cash outlay, which is basically to calculate the total cash outlay that is relative to each proposal. So what we want is to know how much we are going to spend over the whole time. So we're going to multiply the monthly installment by the term, and again by 12 since there is 12 months in a year and we're considering the monthly installment, so we need to multiply it. And there you have it. Once again, you drag it down, and there it is. So now they ask us to sort the table so that the most convenient proposal, the one with the lowest total cash outlay, is at the top, and the least convenient is at the bottom. So what we're going to do is select the total cash outlays, and then sort, and we have to select sort largest to smallest because remember they are negative numbers. So the actual lowest total cash outlay will be the largest negative number. So you sort it, and there you go. Now they ask us using the Excel formatting tools and making sure that the formatting will automatically update as the terms offered by the banks vary, to format with a green field color and a white font color the name of the bank with the lowest total cash outlay, and then with a red field color and a white font color the name of the bank with the greatest total cash outlay. So first of all, we're going to select the banks, then we go on conditional formatting, new rule. We create a classic rule using a formula. So we first do the green one. So we select H4 that has to be equal to the maximum between the total cash outlays. And you don't block it. And now we wanted custom, so we said we wanted it with a green background and a white font. And there you go. Now we do the same thing for the red one. So again, new rule, classic, using the formula. So we want H4 to be equal to the minimum between those values. And once again, we unblock H4 and we go on to custom format and we choose white font with a red background. Click on OK, and there you have it. And this is it for question 2. So moving on to question 3, we're now asked to create 2 new scenarios in case of a small increase or a significant increase of the 3 months Euribor that reaches respectively 1% and 2%. So before starting to do any kind of scenario, we have to evaluate which cells are going to be taken into account by those scenarios, and we see that is the monthly installment cells. Just below this introduction, we are told that we are going to have to show the scenario summaries, meaning that we need to make them as readable as possible. So before even starting to do the scenarios, we are going to rename the cells. So basically you go on the name of the cell and you call it in a way that you'll be able to understand to which bank it belongs. So here you can call it Northern Bank, and since we're talking about the variable interest rate type, you call it VAR, and you enter. And then you do the same for the fixed one, so you get the name you put here, you can copy and paste it, makes things quicker. And you just change the var into a fix. And you do it for every other cell here. Okay, so now that we renamed our cells, we can create the summaries. So we go into the data section up here, and we go in what if analysis scenario manager, and you see that there is no one yet, so you can add one. The scenario name can be small increase, and the changing cell is obviously the Euribor one. So you enter, click on OK, and now we want it of 1.01, which is a 1% increase, and you click on OK. Then we'll create another one called significant increase. The cell that changes is still the same, click on OK, and this time it's a 0.02 for 2%. Click on OK, then we're gonna go on summary. We select the changing cells, so the monthly installments one. Click on OK, and here you have a summary, and you can see the different changes. So it's down here, it's automatically created, and this is why we renamed the cells, so that you can have them here and you know what cell we're talking about. And this is it for question 3.